If you would like to stay up to date with game updates, please subscribe to our YouTube channel for the latest news, updates, and improvements. I am Storm, bringing you the best gaming news for Hell Let Loose, the game for real gamers. Today, I will be reading through the Hell Let Loose developer briefing, 198. Have a seat and a good cup of coffee while we go through the notes. Let's begin. Morton Updates. Hello everyone, welcome to our Morton-focused dev brief, highlighting various changes and implementations, thanks to your feedback. Morton is a new map for warfare, offensive and skirmish game modes. This map is based on the U.S. defense of the French town of Morton, which sits in a shallow valley, where the U.S. rallied against German troops amid Operation Ludic. The battle took place in August 1944, in Normandy, France. In this dev brief, one of our senior environment artists will cover enterable buildings, provide additional context on Collegial Saint-Évralt and La Petite Chapelle Saint-Michel, discuss the environment, foliage and more. We want to be as transparent as possible when it comes to our development process on new maps, and we hope this provides useful insight into what it entails. Morton is due for release after Part 2 of the British rework. Your feedback. I would first like to say a huge thank you to all of the players who participated in the Morton PTE. The team across all disciplines are incredibly grateful for the tremendous amount of feedback, both positive and constructive, about your experiences. Now we've had time to thoroughly process your comments, let's talk about some of the pain points and changes we have already started to implement thanks to your suggestions. Another thing to note is that when we have released images of Morton in the past, I've used offline rendering techniques to produce the best image quality possible. But, to give you the most up-to-date images, since the map is still in development, the in-game screenshots within this dev briefing are taken straight from the engine in real time. So what you are seeing is Morton from a developer-only point of view, and may not represent in-game accurately. All of the work in this briefing is a work in progress and subject to change. Enterable buildings. We acknowledge that players generally really enjoyed the urban combat that Morton had to offer. Still, one consistent piece of feedback we received is that it was disappointing how few buildings were enterable by the player. In truth, this is a concern we had about the map for a while. But due to the amount of new content required for Morton, and the significant amount of work required to retrofit old interiors with our refreshed buildings, we decided to create a singular variation of enterable buildings that could be reused across the map. Upon reflection, however, we understand that more enterable buildings are a priority for players. I'm happy to say that we have successfully created 3 more variations of enterable buildings, and have begun their rollout in Morton. In real terms, due to the number of reusable assets we utilize within Hell Let Loose maps, this means up to 63 buildings already placed in Morton could potentially be accessible across the map, with the possibility of more to come. Given that we want the map to flow and provide enjoyable combat for players, our level design team now has the task of deciding which buildings they feel appropriate to be enterable, and will be implemented with support from our technical art team to ensure this doesn't impact performance. In addition to this, we are currently producing an extended amount of modular pieces used in our destroyed buildings kit, including floors, stairs and strategically placed inner walls, to offer players a similar experience to fully constructed enterable buildings, while maintaining the destroyed appearance and feel we offered in the PTE. We are excited to implement the new assets and thank the community for raising concerns, which have created positive changes for Morton's urban gameplay. The town environment. As with any PTE, members of the development team jumped into Morton to experience firsthand how players were feeling as it went live, and one piece of consistent feedback we heard was that the town, and in particular the buildings, felt too clean and lacked immersion. Admittedly, with Morton being the first map constructed by Expression Games, optimizing old assets and applying memory-saving shaders was our priority. We wanted to tackle performance issues seen across other maps, and although we researched to make sure textures and materials were dated correctly for the period and location, we missed the mark on creating a town that feels engaging and at war. Now that we are confident that our optimization work has been effective, we will look to polish the visual aesthetic of the town to be more in line with an active battlefield. For us, that will include reworking textures to look old and grimy. Smaller varieties of rubble will be implemented to complement our existing piles, and a VFX pass will be done, as well as other ways we are looking to add polish and immersion. Collegial Saint-Évrard and La Petite Chapelle Saint-Michel. Besides enterable buildings, further feedback we received is that players were disappointed that both the Collegial Saint-Évrard and La Petite Chapelle Saint-Michel are unenterable. We completely understand the community's frustration with the decision to have them closed off, and so I'd like to give a brief explanation of why this was the case. Collegial Saint-Évrard, the large church within Morton town, is a historically accurate building that remained largely untouched during the conflict, but I should start by saying that we agree that it really should be open. The decision to keep the Collegial Saint-Évrard closed was made very early on in the development of the map. As with any game, there are a certain amount of people working on a given piece of work, and at the time we prioritized our efforts across lots of content, which is to be revealed in the roadmap. Being a historically accurate building, we would look to provide an accurate representation of the interior, as well as the exterior, which is a large task given its size and technical complexity. Having reassessed what we need to focus on to meet our proposed schedules, we have decided to concentrate our resources on delivering the rest of this year's roadmap content, polished and on time. That being said, we want to be as transparent and open with players as possible, so the possibility of us opening the church post-release of the map is not out of the question. We just need to balance it across our priorities as a team and the roadmap going forward. For the time being, we will look to add set dressing around the church, so it's clearer to players that this isn't accessible. La Petite Chapelle Saint-Michel, much like the Collegial Saint-Évrard, La Petite Chapelle is a historically accurate building that would require a bespoke interior mesh, and although it could be feasible to open the chapelle in time, we feel getting the town to a good place is our greatest priority, and so this also won't be available on the release of Morton. We received lots of positive comments about the elevation and uniqueness of the Petite Chapelle capture point, and the current consensus is that it's well balanced from a gameplay perspective, so any decision to open it would have to be carefully considered. But again, this is not out of the question further down the line. Foliage draw distance. The positive reception to Morton's luscious new foliage has been overwhelming, although we acknowledge that there were some teething problems. To ensure the map ran smoothly during testing, we overcompensated by culling grass, trees, and crops earlier than we needed to. Given that the performance for Morton's wooded areas is good, we are confident that we can push the distance at which foliage culls further away, so there should be less advantage for snipers and players with a keen eye. However, we cannot guarantee that the foliage will always keep you hidden from several hundred meters away, as we need to ensure that the map still runs smoothly, and that comes at a great cost. Despite this, we hope the next time you play Morton there is a noticeable difference when observing foliage at a distance, and as a minimum it maintains consistency with other Hell Let Loose maps in terms of render distance. Final words and a small teaser of the new front end. Although this is a general overview of the key pieces of content we are currently working on, every comment and score submitted through the PTE feedback form has been analyzed by the team, so there are lots of changes being worked on that aren't mentioned in this summary. I hope that this insight into our plans for Morton shows our commitment to listening to and actioning your feedback. Hell Let Loose is defined by its gritty feeling and tactical gameplay, but more importantly, its community. As developers, we naturally won't get everything perfect the first time, but I know firsthand that every person on our team is dedicated to bringing you the best experience possible, so we thank you all for your contribution to making that a reality. See you in-game. Ryan Thomason Jones, Senior Environment Artist, Expression Games. We hope you enjoyed reading about the changes and improvements coming to Morton. We're looking forward to sharing more details and developer-focused information throughout the year. Thank you to the development team across all disciplines for their contributions to Morton, and for sharing their hard work and passion for Hell Let Loose. Morton will release after Part 2 of the British rework, but before that the roadmap reveal coming shortly. This concludes all notes for Developer Briefing 198. Overall things are looking to be on the right track, so thank you to Expression Games for this update. Make sure to leave a comment for anything you wish to see improve within the game so that we can let the developers know how to make gameplay even better. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe. From me, Storm, have a great day.